Salam alaikum everyone. Today we're going to actually be talking about one tip to combat stress. Stress seems to be the all-pervasive situation right now for all of us. So before I get into that tip, I actually want to talk about, well, what is stress? So stress is actually the body's reaction to any situation that either requires a quick response or it senses a change. So stress is also felt when the mind-body system senses a change, and the mind-body system works as one. And we can, if you have any questions and thoughts, please feel free to message those to me so that we can talk about that further. But stress can happen with any number of situations, from big to small. So for example, when you're going to work or something and you see a roadblock when you're late for work, you're at work and you get a call from the school and your child is sick and you now have to go and pick them up, and it throws off your day. Your boss throws a new deadline at you at work. Someone criticizes something you did or makes a comment about some food you cooked at home or something like that. And even the bigger situations that we deal with, such as an illness, God forbid, a passing away of a loved one, financial pressures with the current lockdown, a lot of changes happening, things day to day, these are all related to stress, right? So think of it this way: any situation that takes you from a calm and relaxed state to one where you have thoughts and feelings and sensations all of a sudden, these are all stresses. And those situations where you have these, where you need to react to something, but we often say, whenever you talk to people, you ask them about how are you, and they'll say, well, I feel stressed. And this stress in itself is not an emotion, it's a state. It's a state of being. So a lot of times when we think of stress as an emotion, it can be tricky to get rid of, because it's not an emotion, it's a state that happens in our minds and our bodies. We're actually feeling it in our bodies, right? So when we say that we're feeling stress, we're actually experiencing a number of things. We're feeling sensations in our bodies, such as, fast heartbeat or sweaty palms or not being able to sleep. Some people get headaches and ulcers and those kinds of things, right? We have a lot of thoughts that start racing through our head, and we start paying attention to all those thoughts, like, what will I do now? How do I cope? What's going to happen next? How are my loved ones going to respond? All of these things, And then there are the emotions underneath as well, but we're not in touch with those emotions so much in the moment. We're more about, the thoughts and the reactions and all of that. And when we focus more on these thoughts and our reactions, the stress doesn't seem to dissipate. It just seems to get worse. So what we end up doing is we amp it up, we amplify things instead of bringing them down. So what's one way of actually dealing with the stress and bringing ourselves to a state of calm again? So one small tip is to actually name and voice the real emotion that's going on underneath. And we often can't get to it that easily because there's all this distraction, all these sounds, all this noise that's on top, right? So a couple of questions that I often ask myself, and I recommend this is a tool that you can ask yourself, are, well, what am I afraid of right now? Or what's really going on right now for me deep down? What's really going on? What's really bothering me? And how am I really feeling? You might, when you start asking yourself these questions, initially there might be a lot of noise, but when you start to slow down, you might notice an emotion like a fear, or perhaps feeling helplessness or disappointment. These are all parts of sadness, and if it's a good situation, which we're not really talking about, but even we can reflect this on things that when we're feeling good as well, to get in touch with our deeper emotions as well. We can talk about that another time, but those would be emotions like joy and happiness and love, right? So when you actually start to come to some kind of awareness, what's really going on, that emotion, then write it down. So you go, I am feeling, the emotion, I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling disappointed, or I'm feeling helpless because. And then you write down the situation. So in a sentence, you've got that situation down and the real emotion. The minute we connect with that real emotion, that panic that's surrounding us in our thoughts, that stress tends to come down. And when we can relate to that emotion underneath, it's A, easier to let go, and B, it's much, much easier to find a solution for the situation. Because those stressful thoughts and reactions stop our creativity. This way we get access to our creativity and we can really deal with what's going on for us. Sometimes it's not easy to deal with those raw emotions, but that's where the freedom from that stress and the tension is. And that's where the solution lies. So this is a small tip. First of all, just becoming aware of what stress is. And then 2, learning to connect with the real emotion that's underneath. Give this a go. Please message me your thoughts and comments. I'm also open to really taking questions, so send your questions through. And if you know of anyone who is feeling so stressed that they really need someone to talk to, please feel free to tell them to just WhatsApp me, give me a message, and we can connect. And perhaps, I can just help them to come down to a calmer state and take it from there. So thank you so much for listening. Please share and pass this on to whoever this may help. Thank you. Until next time. Salam alaikum.